Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Pure Nintendo podcast. This is your weekly dose of all things Nintendo. My name is Jemma, and this week I am fortunate enough to be joined by two excellent Pure Nintendo team members in the form of Trev. Welcome back, Trev.
Hey, Jemma and Kirk, I missed you guys. Whoops, I just spoiled it. Kirk's the other one.
Yes, thank you, Trev, for doing my job and joining us.
Man, I'll just go back behind the curtain for a few more minutes, I guess.
Yes, welcome back, Kirk. How are you this week?
Oh, I'm good. I'm tired. I have a new dog.
Oh, nice. Feisty little puppy, or?
She's a puppy. She's seven months old, I think.
Oh, cute. Cute.
Yeah.
Is she going to take over as the mascot, or is my dog still the unofficial mascot? We'll have two unofficial mascots.
I will say that she's part Australian Kelpie, which I had never even heard of before.
She did look in the photo actually a little kelpie-ish.
Yeah.
Okay. She's going to need a lot of exercise.
Yes.
I think. Yes.
Yeah, she already has.
Oh, well, congratulations on your new family member.
And you named her Poochie, did you?
Of course. What is her name, just out of interest?
Her name is Rio.
Rio. That's right.
And she dances on the sand. She comes from the Rio Grande Valley down in southern Texas. She's a border stray.
Oh,
So they shipped her all the way up to Ohio.
nice.
Yep.
Well, thank you. And so this week we have another full load of interesting news to talk about, from new trailers, some interesting little side projects happening, as well as amiibo, which we haven't talked about for a little while. Some music. There's a lot going on, honestly. And then we've got the games we're playing, of course, which we're excited to talk about some of those because, I'm actually really excited. I got some good bargains this week, which I think both of you will be impressed with. But let's start off with Donkey Kong, because Donkey Kong is just everywhere at the moment. And I guess it's mostly because Donkey Kong Country Returns HD is coming out in just about a month now, in January, mid-January. We've obviously got Donkey Kong Country just opened at Super Nintendo World, which happened during the week. But there was also a new trailer for Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. I'm saying it properly this week. Which is a lovely trailer, and I guess Trev's been away for a few weeks, and we've had a bit of a Donkey Kong chat recently because there was Donkey Kong Land 1, 2, and 3 on the Nintendo Switch Online recently. First of all, Kirk, did you get to play any of them?
It did.
You did?
It did, yeah.
How'd you go?
I spent some time on the first one. I thought it was kind of fun. I think it was mostly fun because, like, going back to a system I never had and playing a game that I've never played on a system I never had was, like, oddly entertaining to me because it wasn't like even a throwback. It was like I'm really experiencing this for the first time, and I got a kick out of that whole vibe. It did get harder for me than I expected it to early on, but that's me. I'm not that good at that kind of game, and I'm old.
I think they tend to be hard. Don't you agree, Trev?
Yeah, I don't think they're easy games. I mean, they're not like Mario type of challenge. I think they're a step up.
Yeah, I agree. And so the new trailer shows off a couple of modes. They're calling it modern mode and casual mode. No, sorry, modern mode and original mode. And original mode is, I guess, the harder mode, which is the original mode. We only have, 3 hearts or something. And then in modern mode, you get extra hearts and extra item slots. So I guess it makes it easier and more accessible. I got the vibe from the trailer that it was really aimed at a younger crowd. Just even the language that they were using was very, I don't know, like, did they say fire or brat or something? They use this word that's just so whatever the current young generation is. I'm like, why are they saying that? It sounds like, like your mom trying to say Mario. Anyway, it was interesting. Trev, since you're the biggest Donkey Kong fan among us, I think, what did you think of the trailer?
Really? Huh, how about that? It's good. I mean, I like the game. I don't know if I'm gonna get it because I already have it on 3DS, but I think anyone who didn't play the 3DS version, there's new content over the Wii, or if you missed it on both systems, definitely check it out. It's brand new. I do think the modern mode, as they're calling it, I don't think it's 100% fresh because it just seems to be what the new mode was on 3DS. I actually booted it up just to double check, but because the 3DS new mode gave you more hearts too and more items. I can't confirm that it gave you the same exact number of item slots, but I feel like that kind of checks out with what we suspected, that this is a HD port of the 3DS version and not the Wii
Mm.
original. But if you haven't played it, it's new to you, and I mean, they're definitely come in handy because the game has some really hard stuff, especially end game, and especially if you're trying 100% it. I mean, some of those Kong letters are like, ugh. So
Yeah, that is so true. I have not played the 3DS version. I played the original Super Nintendo version, so not any HD version at all, and like
wait,
not the
did you
Wii
play it on
version.
the Wii though?
No, no, I did
Oh,
not.
so this will be brand new for you then.
Yeah, because it looks lovely. Like the graphics just look amazing. It does look very nice. I was saying to Kirk last week, you might have heard it, Trev, when you were listening, that it would be nice to have a new Donkey Kong outing. But still, like you said, this is new. It's how old is the original game? It's, mid 90s, right? Like it's fairly old. And then when did the Wii version come out? Well,
Yeah,
like 20 odd
2010.
years ago. Yeah. 15 years ago. Yep.
So I mean,
So yeah.
it's a good game, and in some ways, I like Donkey Kong Country Returns better like than the originals in certain
Mm,
ways. I mean, the originals have more nostalgia, but I feel like Retro Studios, has their own flavor versus like Rare or old
mm,
Rare. I mean, Rare
mhm,
doesn't really exist as they were, but
mhm.
yeah, I think it's going to be. I hope it does well because it was popular on the 3DS and certainly on the Wii. I mean, it's bestseller for both systems, so
Right. There you
I'm
go.
sure it'll at least crack a million.
Yeah. And did we have co-op play previously, like on screen at once in the all the systems? Have we had that all the whole time?
I don't think 3DS had it because I don't think it had like a match play or whatever, but the
Mm-hmm.
Wii did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. I thought so. And that makes sense to bring that back, which is really nice. And it makes me, I guess, I can see myself playing it with my kids. I think it'd be fun. And the 3DS levels are obviously part and parcel of this new one too. What does that entail? Like how many extra levels are there?
Um, Trying to remember. I think it was like a new world, and I'm trying to remember how many are in each world. It's been too long. I've
Yeah.
replayed it too, but I feel like it's a game I replay fairly often, but never to like 100% it. So
Mm, yeah, I would love to see someone who 100%ed it, honestly. Like you said, that's a challenge right there. That is a huge challenge.
it's they're not easy games. I know we were joking
No.
beforehand, but I feel like if you're looking for among Nintendo platformers, like Kirby's your easy ones, Mario's kind of middle of the road, and then
Mm,
Donkey Kong really ups the challenge. In fact, if you go to on our website and look at reviews of the old game, I think you'll find. I think Justin reviewed the Wii, and maybe Tristan did the 3DS. I think they both mentioned the challenge. So,
mhm.
which is
Yeah.
good, for people who are into that sort of thing, right? It kind of reflects the originals.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. That's a really good way to put it. Kirby, easy, Mario, middle, and Donkey Kong. That's perfect. That actually describes it perfectly. Yeah. Very nice. Thank you, Trev. Kirk, anything to add to Donkey Kong trailer or anything about Donkey Kong at all?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. You could have called Rio Donkey. I've heard of dogs called Kong or Donkey. I don't know. Donkey Kong DK. If you really wanted to get into the spirit of it. The next little bit of news is another kind of a trailer. It's actually more of a teaser, I guess. But this was really interesting and came out of nowhere. I don't know how you feel about Aardman Studios. I love Aardman. So Aardman Studios does Shaun the Sheep and Wallace and Gromit. And I'm pretty sure Kirk at least is a fan of Wallace and Gromit, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
And Shaun the Sheep
And Shaun the Sheep
and Chicken Run.
and Chicken Run. Yes, that's
Ooh,
right.
the trifecta.
And they're working on some sort of Pokemon project, which is super exciting, I think. There's a little teaser that just has little Pokeballs rolling onto the screen. And then it says, Pokemon project coming in 2027. So there's nothing else. We don't know much else about it. I know there's an article that talks to the guys at Aardman Studios and how excited they are. I think it's a cool combination. What do you guys think? Maybe Kirk, since you are the Aardman fan. I don't know, Trev, sorry, you may also be an Aardman fan. I just know that Kirk is.
I think it may be the first Pokemon thing I've really been excited about. Um,
Yeah.
Provided it has that Aardman sense of humor. If
Mm,
if they bring that slick, sense of humor into it, and the joy. I mean, everything that they do. I guess Chicken Run got a little dark at times,
Yeah.
but otherwise, it's just like so joyful throughout the whole thing that it's impossible to not be entertained
Mhm.
when Aardman is really on their game. So regardless of the project, like I said, I'm not a huge Pokemon fan. Pokemon. I'm having problems with all this.
Yeah.
You guys are going to revoke my card by the time this is done. Um, I haven't played Pokemon games. I haven't really watched the movies. I have nothing against it. I think that this could be the thing that really brings me into that universe, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, awesome. And what do you think, Trev?
Well, first I saw 2027 and I'm like, oh man, I'm like,
Yeah.
what am I supposed to think? Ask me in a couple of years. But
Yeah, yeah.
I definitely like. I don't really know Wallace and Gromit that well, but I like Shaun the Sheep and Chicken Run. So I got 2 out of 3, and I just like claymation in
Mhm,
general. I
mhm,
think it's got like a timeless quality to it, where you look at animation that's like some of the early CGI or something looks terribly dated, but I
mm,
feel like claymation kind of holds up.
mhm,
So I'm excited to see where it goes. I've slowly gotten into Pokemon through the years. I probably in between you and Kirk in terms of fandom.
mm.
Yeah, I've only played a few games, but I think it'll be good, and I enjoy seeing anything that I associate with like Nintendo and gaming come to the small screen, the big screen, any other form other than straight gameplay. So
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. I wonder if it will be a movie or a series or just a one-off kind of thing. Who knows? And like you said, 2027 is a long time to wait. I don't know why we get these announcements so far in advance,
that's what
but
makes me think it's got to be something theatrical if it's going to be that
mhm.
far off. 'Cause I feel like if it was a TV thing, maybe there'd be a shorter window, but I don't know.
Yeah. Side note, actually, speaking of claymation, did you guys happen to see that Sonic claymation that's online a little bit at the moment? It's a Christmas special with the voices from the because Sonic 3 is coming out, right? Or is it out? It's not out here. It's coming out in Australia, I think, on Boxing Day, I believe.
I think it comes
Um,
out within the week, or if this
yeah.
posts Monday, it might be out at the end of this week.
Right. Yeah. So a little bit earlier than here. I think it's the week after. But they're doing all these like Christmas movie posters, and they're doing, but they've also done this little. It's only very short, like a couple of minutes long, but it looks like claymation to me. It might be CGI. I don't know, but it's got that style, that 3D rendered kind of claymation style, and it's Sonic and his friends saving Christmas. It's really cute. You should check it out if you like claymation.
Did
Again,
they
I
do
don't.
that kind of like the approach to like the old 60s and 70s Rudolph the Red-Nosed Rankin and Bass, the company that did
Kind
all those things?
of. Maybe
I
that's what
didn't
it's
watch
based
it.
on.
Saw something on that and figured that's probably what they were going for.
Yeah, it could be. Actually could be. Yeah, because they look like that it does look like that style that I think you're talking about. Yeah, and it's got, Keanu Reeves and, all the rest of the voice cast from the movie in this little short animated thing. So yeah, check it out. I don't know where you can see it. I'm still quietly on Twitter, only because I find stuff like this on Twitter that I can't seem to find anywhere else. So
Oh,
I'm not posting, I'm just reading news, Nintendo related news. Help me find
I'm
it
just
elsewhere.
looking. I'm not touching.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Well,
Yes, so sorry?
I was going to say before we move on, I do want to make sure
Mhm.
because Trevor just admitted to me that he's never watched Wallace and Gromit, and that blows my mind.
Yes.
There is a new Wallace and Gromit movie coming out, I think, on Netflix this month, I believe.
Really?
Yes, the guy who played Wallace, Peter, I can't remember his name. My apologies, but I believe he's passed on, and they have a new guy playing him, and he's fantastic. Sounds just like him. But Trevor, watch that. But before you do, it's kind of a sequel to one of their shorts, which was called The Wrong Trousers. You have
Mhm.
got to watch Wallace and Gromit, The Wrong Trousers, and then
Yes.
I'll add
watch.
it to my list with Joe versus the volcano.
You could put Joe versus the volcano behind this. As much as I love Joe versus the volcano, and it's a shorter commitment. It's only like half hour long.
Yes. So this is a sequel to The Wrong Trousers that's coming out?
Yes,
Nice,
yes.
okay.
Without spoiling anything for Trevor, one of the characters from that one returns and is
Okay.
out for vengeance.
Yeah.
Oh,
Peter
now I'm gonna be
Sellers.
wondering. Oh, Peter Settlers. Okay.
Peter
What's
Sellers
that?
is he's the original voice, and the new guy is Benjamin Whitehead.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yes.
See, I was thinking Peter Sellers, but then I thought, no, that's that guy who played the Inspector Clouseau in the Pink Panther. What was that guy's name?
Is
Did they have the same name?
it's
Oh,
the same
It's not.
guy.
It's not the same.
really? Is it the same
Is
guy?
it really?
I don't know. I
Wait,
don't
is there another actor with Peter Sellers? I thought like because of SAG rules, you had to have a different name.
Maybe
There's already
it's
one.
maybe I'm saying it incorrectly. Like it's Sallis. Is that how you spell it? Is that the guy
I
that we're
think
talking about?
Sellers was E.
Okay. There you go. Very close. Very, very close.
Okay.
Yes. But yes, it looks like he retired and then he has passed away since then.
Oh, that
So
makes sense because yeah, Peter Sellers has been dead since
Yeah. Yeah.
I was a
Okay.
kid, I think.
yeah. So
But
check
yeah,
it
the new
out.
guy's perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Oh,
I was
that's
blown away
good.
when I first heard his voice. You would never
Nice.
know.
Oh, that's
So how
good.
does
Yeah.
Wallace and Gromit put you on the spot? If you had to rank Wallace and Gromit, Chicken Run, and Shaun the Sheep, which one's top?
Wallace and Gromit, without hesitation.
Really? Okay. Well, now I'm excited because I like the other two.
In fact,
Mm.
Shaun the sheep, he started in the third Wallace and Gromit
Really?
short. Yes. So yeah, watch the. I think there are 4 now. They did
I
4
did not
proper
know that.
ones.
No,
But
me
yes,
neither.
yeah, he.
Huh.
What was it called? A close shave. Wallace and Gromit, a close shave.
Ah, yeah, I've seen that one. I didn't know
Yep.
Sean was in it. Huh.
Yep.
I'll have to go back and watch them as well. I do love Shaun the Sheep, not to get too sidetracked with Aardman stuff.
Oh, you know what? I'm looking at it too. Yeah, Peter Salas as opposed to Peter Sellers.
Ah,
Oh,
yes.
Now I
Sorry.
got it.
My
it's your accent, Gemma.
my Aussie twang. Yes.
Your
Sorry.
Mario and your Pokemon.
You Peter Salas. Yeah. Yes, thank you. Well, yes, look out for that. Obviously, we've got a few years to wait for Pokemon X Aardman, however you write these things. But in the meantime, you can watch Wallace and Gromit. So yeah, do that. But we also wanted to say stop the press because something else exciting happened this week, which is that Trev has got new amiibo. Tell us all
Yeah.
what happened. Where did you get them, and what are they?
I picked up 2. One I picked up over Black Friday. And you guys were right, or Kirk was, I think, saying how people don't do it as much anymore. But to some extent, I did a little bit. You know, I did get some stuff online too. But
I
we
want to
were,
think that you were camping out 2 hours before the store opened, out in the cold because you had to get these amiibo when they opened.
I
Worth
needed
it.
it.
The Black Friday doorbuster deals.
We happened to be nearby a Best Buy, so I went in not particularly looking for anything, and they had the Zelda amiibo that first came out with Link's Awakening,
Cool.
which I wanted. And when they re-released it for Echoes of Wisdom, I'm like, I got to pick it up this time because I missed it the first time, and I
Mhm.
couldn't find it. It was sold out everywhere I went, and they happened to have 2 on the shelf, so I grabbed one.
Nice.
Very excited to have that. It's the shiniest amiibo I've ever seen in my life. Like, I don't know what the plastic's made of. Like, no matter where I look at it, I'm like, I got to put sunglasses on.
They sprayed it with Pam cooking spray.
It's it is. It's just so like in contrast to the other ones, it really like stands out. So that was the first one I picked up, and then we went to a kind of a local mom and pop shop. I had some company over, and my friend Kira, who occasionally contributes to Pure Nintendo, uh, she was digging through. It was like a bin, you know. They have random like action figures or whatever, and she's like Trev, and she found a loose amiibo
Oh.
for Shovel Knight, King Knight amiibo,
Ooh.
which was only in a 3-pack. So I'm like, and this was the one I wanted the most of the 3 in that 3-pack. So I'm like, oh, nice. And it was a good price. And now I have the Shovel Knight amiibo and I have King Knight next to him, which I don't think is,
Cool.
again, I don't think it's a terribly common amiibo
No, not at
because I haven't
all.
even seen that 3-pack. I barely saw the 3-pack when it was new. And so,
That's a
yeah,
good
those are
find.
my 2 new additions.
Mm. That is a very good find, honestly. I don't know
Yeah.
how it came to be loose though. What's the story there?
I don't know. And I suspect the owner maybe didn't know what it was because
Mm,
it was just
Because you
because it
charged
does.
99 cents.
mhm.
Well, it wasn't that cheap. It was a fair price. I did get a deal, but It all evens out because he had other stuff that was overpriced. So I
Yeah.
always am okay paying a little more for mom and pop shops
Oh
because
yeah, absolutely.
support
Yeah.
the local economy. But I got a good deal on it, and it's one like I said, I don't think I'd be able to find just in the wild because it was only in that 3-pack, and
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
That's
yeah,
cool. Very good. Excellent. Add it to your collection.
yeah,
Nice.
my
I
slowly growing collection.
Yeah, I haven't got any new ones recently, sadly. Oh, well, maybe Christmas. Who knows, right? We need some new
Have
ones. We
you
actually
been
need
good
some
this year?
good enough for amiibo? Yeah, I think so. I think so. I think so. I
That's
hope so.
a new category on the list. I love it. Naughty, nice, good enough for amiibo.
Yeah, that's the benchmark. Yes. Anyway, thank you, Trev. Moving on to the next news item, and this one, I thought maybe Kirk in particular would be interested in this because Nintendo now owns 100% of Monolith Soft, and I mean, I think they already owned 90 something percent anyway. So it's not like hugely different, but they have been slowly acquiring this company over the how long has it been? I can't remember now. A long time. And this is the company that makes a lot of great games, such as Xenoblade Chronicles, which is why I thought of you, Kirk. So I'm not sure what happened, but I think it was just on the website. There was an update that said something like, "This is Nintendo now owns all of the company, all the shares, or whatever." So um, yeah, what do you guys think about that? I don't think it will change anything. Nintendo was already the majority shareholder anyway. Do you think it's good now that it's kind of completely under Nintendo's wing?
I think so. I think it's probably good for both of them because
Mhm.
Nintendo relies on them not only for like the Xenoblade Chronicle games and such, but they chip in to help like with Breath of the Wild, right?
Mhm.
Um, so having that team on board fully means you've always got that resource to be able to pitch in and take games and make them better, or to just kind of tighten things up as necessary, but also without any outside distractions of other companies coming in for other platforms and pitching them on certain
Mm.
things that could pull things away. So yeah, it's probably good. I mean, great for Monolith Soft. How cool would it be to start a company or even just work for it and you go to bed and wake up the next day and you're basically an Nintendo employee?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That is pretty cool. Especially because Nintendo is one of the most sought after companies to work for, apparently, in Japan at least. So yeah, very cool. Do you have any opinions, Trev?
Yeah, I think it's nice. There's certain what do they call them? Second parties where
Mm.
the companies are independent, but you associate them with Nintendo, and I feel like Monolith Soft was one of them. So
Mhm.
I'm always up for Nintendo acquiring these because I guess yeah, I have that old school mindset kind of. It's like I feel like Nintendo players often seek out their systems for the Nintendo exclusives,
Mhm.
and this is just going to give people another reason to gravitate towards the Switch successor or whatever. To check out these games that you can only play here, and they've done well, right, on Switch. Certainly better
Mm.
than like you look at Xenoblade Chronicles on the Wii or the new
Mhm.
3DS versus the Switch, and the sales are on the Switch primarily. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And yeah, you're right, Kirk. They've helped out with loads of other games. I think Animal Crossing, Tears of the Kingdom, a bunch of other things apart from Xenoblade. So yeah, I think, congratulations to them. I hope they're all feeling happy and, content in their environment. Nintendo, like I said, they are a good company to work for by the sounds of it anyway. Not that I've ever worked for them. I'd love to. I think we'd all kind of love to. So yeah, and it does give you that kind of certainty and that quality. I mean, Monolith Soft has been around a little while now, and they've definitely got a good reputation. So as well as Nintendo, they kind of work hand in hand to, I don't know, forge that legacy and yeah, give players something really exciting to look forward to.
Yeah,
So
and like for fans of or people like me who are fans of their games, we don't have to worry about the games slipping out onto other
mm,
systems and disappearing. It's like
mhm.
now I know, okay, whatever Nintendo system is going to come out is going to have some new stuff from Monolith Soft, and that makes it more exciting for me.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. Let's move on to Nintendo Music because every week we do get a little update to that app. Trev, we haven't really spoken much with you about Nintendo Music, have we? I don't think. Not for the last few weeks, at least. How are you going with it? Are
Yeah.
you using it much?
I am. Well, I don't know if I say much because it
Yeah.
does update kind of slow, but
Mhm,
I've
mhm.
definitely used it, and I think I mentioned last time we were on, or I was on, that I was appreciating how they brought back some of the obscure like tracks from like the old Wii channels or things that
Mm, mhm.
were had vanished from time, or
Yeah.
even certain songs like you hear a lot, but maybe you never hear them in full, like the jingle for Wii Sports Resort. Like I'd always hear the opening notes and then you click start, right? But I
Yeah.
sat and listened to it in full and I'm like, wow, I should have sat on the title screen for a minute and a half and really
Yeah.
enjoyed it. So yeah, I've been getting a kick out of it, and I certainly like this latest one.
Yeah, so Wave Race 64 was added during the week. Every Monday, it seems they drop a new soundtrack. Yeah, this has been a good one. I gave it a listen as well. It's very upbeat. I honestly didn't play a lot of Wave Race 64. I did play it because it was was it a launch title for Nintendo 64?
It
Very
was a
early
launch window, I
launch
think,
window.
title, what they
Yeah,
call.
yeah, I definitely remember playing it because we had it at the video shop where I worked. We had Nintendo 64s that people could hire, and we played it in in the store. So I remember
Nice.
that very yeah, it was so cool. Um, yeah, so it's a really nice soundtrack. It's really interesting that point you make. I tend to agree. With title music, for example, you don't listen to it, and when you do listen to it on the Nintendo Music app, and you realize how long it is. It's like a few minutes worth of music that you never hear unless you sit there on the title screen. You think, wow, the composers actually put a lot of effort into this. It's more than just 10 seconds of jingle time while people press the start button or whatever, or the A button. Like there's a whole, thing. There's a whole minutes worth of music that they've put into this, and I guess dedication and love. So it's good to give them that kind of, I guess, exposure. Yeah.
Absolutely, and it got me in the mood to replay the game. I actually
Mhm.
was looking through my N64 carts. I could not find Wave Race 64, so
Aw,
I
dang
don't know
it.
where it is, but I ended up pulling out the GameCube Wave Race Blue Storm.
Ah,
And
nice.
what
Yeah.
I did, I was playing that, and I muted the TV, and I just listened to the app, so it kind of tricked my brain. It was
Oh,
like I
that's
was
cool.
playing Wave Race 64, but with GameCube visuals.
Yeah. That's funny. How different
Uh,
would the soundtracks be, do you think, between the 2?
um, a fair amount, but I mean, there's some, certain notes you recognize, right, as
Mm.
like legacy or
Mm.
nostalgia. But honestly, it just got me thinking, like playing Wave Race, and then you have like F-Zero or Excite Bike. Nintendo has so many of these racing
Yeah.
franchises that at one time were very popular, and they're lying dormant. Like, what are they
Mhm.
doing? So
Mhm.
I really hope that the Switch successor revives some of these, because as much as I love Mario Kart, I've been playing it now for 10 years. I'm
Yeah.
ready for a different racing game,
Yeah. That's a
even
really
if
good
it's
point.
just updating them.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, totally agree. Kirk, did you ever play any Wave Race? Because I know you had a GameCube. Was that the first system that you had?
Yes, I did
Yes.
start with the GameCube. No, I didn't play Wave Race. I've never been much of a racing fan. I think the only racing game well, of course, Mario Kart. I do play that. I'm not crazy, but what was it? Pod Racer, Star Wars Pod Racer. I used to play that a lot on the
Ah, yeah.
Mac.
Mhm.
Yeah, and there was a game from a company called Cro-Mag Rally, which basically was Mario Kart, except they were all cavemen. Um,
Right.
so that'll show you how obscure I've gotten with my racing games.
Yeah. I'm a bit like you where I'm not terribly good at racing games, so I don't tend to gravitate towards them. I've played, I've played F-Zero, I've played Wave Race 64, I've played Excite Bike, of course. Sorry, Excite Bike. But I don't think I owned any of them. So I just played them either at friends' houses or, like I said, at the video store. And except Mario Kart, that's the one that I'm actually half decent at. So yeah, but I do agree that they are lying dormant, these kind of old IPs, and what's happening with them? But they were popular enough for a sequel. Like Wave Race got its GameCube sequel. F Zero's had a few entries, but not for a long time. Where are
Yeah.
they? Yeah.
And
Mm.
it's like you could do, I mean, you don't have to overthink it. I feel like sometimes Nintendo might overthink it. Like we need a
Mhm,
new idea. You don't.
mhm.
Give us an HD version in the case of, or give us a collection. All
Mm,
three of
mhm.
these games. I think even Wave Race, I think, had a Game Boy version.
Right.
Give us a collection. Um, I feel like the audience is there. You're going to tap into people who remember the games, and you're going
Mhm.
to discover new fans who are looking for something a little bit different. So,
Yeah. I don't know who developed those 3 IPs that you mentioned, Excitebike, Wave Race, and F-Zero, but would it be cool to combine all 3 into one game? Could you imagine that? Kinda like Mario Kart, you know how Mario Kart has the, anti-gravity sections where your cart converts into, it converts into a hovercraft or whatever. You've got the flying sections where your cart has
mm,
the things, and then you've got, was it this Mario Kart 7 or one of them where you can go in the water? You convert it into a boat?
yeah.
Yeah. So
I
you
mean, they
could
are Nintendo IPs. Like, I don't know
yeah.
which development branch of Nintendo did it because they have different like wings,
Mm.
but that would be wild. I
Yeah.
could definitely, and you know what? Talking about how they're looking for something new. There's your new idea.
Yeah.
Combine
Yeah.
them and bridge them together, and wow,
Mm. Yep.
yeah.
There's something.
Gemma, you're getting my hopes up now. I'm gonna be disappointed if we don't get that.
Something to think about, yes. That would be cool, I think, too. I would definitely be on board with that. Anyway, let's move on to the next piece of news, which is a Pac-Man related piece. Whose item is this? Who put this into the list? I don't know about this one, sorry.
I posted this one. There was a review view trailer for a new Pac-Man game, which I guess is called Shadow Labyrinth.
Mm, mhm.
Um, because it's so bizarre. Like you've seen Pac-Man has been redone over and over again. Basically, kind of the same thing. They've expanded the board or made it so like 3D, so it doesn't have like the standard 2D graphic thing. And countless others. But this is like a platformer. I watched the trailer like I don't even understand what's going on. You're like a character, and there's a Pac-Man floating behind you, and you're playing like a Metroidvania, but the Pac-Man like leaves at some point and scouts along the walls. And then there's this like giant Pac-Man Shin Godzilla mouth that is coming out of the fire. It's just absolutely insane. I don't even have anything to offer beyond that, except I was like, what have they done with this? And I love it. I've never been excited about a Pac-Man thing before, and I don't know if it's my kind of game and I would play it. But boy, they just completely went nuts with their quote genre twisting alternate
Yeah.
take unquote.
Yeah. Yeah, they've definitely taken something and completely changed the I guess, how he works and how we perceive him. Trev, how do you feel about this?
Well, I didn't watch the Game Awards. I think that's where they unveiled this,
Uh,
right? So I
yeah,
just
Yeah, I
caught
should
wind of it.
clarify. Yeah, I didn't watch them either. I just saw this as an announcement as part of it. Although I do
mhm.
Yeah.
have something I want to complain about at the Game Awards. Remind me of that when we get a moment.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Um, it's very weird. I feel like I was trying to follow the story, and I'm like, did AI write this story? Like, did they give it a prompt and it came up with this? It didn't make a lot of sense gameplay wise. I'm like, is this some kind of quote unquote like Metroidvania horror
Mhm.
platformer thing going on here? Um, I did post actually. Not that I get much traction on Blue Sky, but I'm not on Twitter anymore. Unlike some of us, I totally gave it up. But it looks like a ripoff of some CGI from a mid '90s Stephen King miniseries called The
Yeah.
Langoliers.
Oh my, you're
Mm.
talking about the end when the Cocoa Puffs attack the airport.
Yes.
What?
So if you're listening to this, go on Blue Sky, retweet my post or whatever you call it. Let's
Yeah.
get it going viral. I did tag Stephen King and Bandai
Oh, did
Namco, but
you?
so far no
Ah,
traction.
okay.
But that's all I
Huh.
could think about. I'm like, man, I'm like, this is just too bizarre.
Yes, it is bizarre. It's like someone had a dream or AI, but it's like someone had a dream about Pac-Man and they woke up like, "Oh my gosh, I need to make a game of this crazy dream that I just had." Like, I don't know. That's how
A
I see it.
fever dream.
Yeah, exactly. When do we know when this is coming out? Is it coming to a Nintendo platform? Game
It
Awards, because
is.
okay,
It's coming to the Switch, and the other platforms in 2025.
yes.
So
Okay. Wow, that's pretty soon, actually. All right.
yeah.
Because, yeah, I mean, now is a good time if you wanted to segue into Game Awards and your complaints about it. I didn't watch it either, by the way. I just looked at the trailers from the show. I did not see this because I scrolled through and couldn't see anything really Nintendo related. So, but you go, Kirk. What's your story?
Um, it's kind of not too far removed from our talk on Wallace and Gromit.
Mhm.
I again didn't watch the awards. You guys, I've made my opinion clear on award shows in general, not just the Game Awards.
Yes.
But they had a segment where Statler and Waldorf, the Muppets, were
Ah.
involved, according to this YouTube video. So maybe this wasn't even this year. Maybe it was last year. I don't know. I think it was this year. But they did the bit where they're up in the what do you call that when you're sitting up higher? God,
Ah.
the
Like
loge,
the balcony box thing.
Yeah.
yeah, that kind of thing. Um, Commenting and making fun of it, but whoever was writing this has no concept of how Statler and Waldorf work. Like they know too much about the gaming industry, and some of their jokes were funny. Don't get me wrong; they were pretty sharp, and I thought that they were allowed to say some things that you wouldn't think them, like criticizing DLC or whatever being nominated or for a remaster being up for Game of the Year or something like that.
Uh-huh.
So they were calling things out that other people were saying anyway.
Mhm.
Um, but why do Statler and Waldorf know anything about the gaming industry?
I don't know. That's a
Why
good
would they
question.
find it was just such a random and like as a longtime fan of the original Muppet Show, because again I was alive and watching it on TV in the late 70s. It just kind of broke my heart a little bit that
Oh.
now they're just characters that we can insert anywhere, and it doesn't matter if it makes any sense or is grounded in any sense of reality, like the Muppets always really tried to be. Um, and so I thought I was disappointed by that. And had I been at the show, I would have got up and walked out of the arena.
Whoa.
Mm. Did
I
you
mean,
did
the
you
Muppets have had video games. I mean, not the best games, maybe, but
do they? I did not know that.
there's a few video games. There's a terrible NES game.
Oh.
Um, I think they had like a Mario Party type ripoff. There actually, I think, was a decent one on the PlayStation PS1, but
Mm.
I'm getting off topic.
Did you virtually walk off the stage by, like, not watching the whole video, or did you watch the whole video?
Oh yeah, I bailed. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Also, because whoever was hosting it, it's like one of those things where there was no, it wasn't organic at all. Like everything just seemed like so line driven and set up punchline. And one of the great thing about the Muppets were whenever they talked or did anything, it really sounded like these characters were having honest conversations. And the
Mm.
comedy was coming from that, as opposed to we want to say this and we want to make this joke and this joke. So you're going to respond thusly, and it was too rigid throughout the whole thing too.
Mm. Yeah. Fair enough. Good comment, and yeah, I
Yeah, why we're talking about it on a Pure Nintendo podcast, I have no idea.
yeah, and I from what my
I got to get things off my chest.
that's okay. That's what we're here for. Let it out. Did you have anything to add while we're on the topic of the Game Awards, Trev?
Um, Not really. I like the Muppets, but last year I did watch the Game Awards and shared some things, but I find the format boring. I find it more focused on like the presenters rather than like the games they're honoring. A lot of the
Mm.
awards just get like kind of glossed over. It's like just a quick mention, almost like a throwaway. So I don't know if the show actually is living up to its aims. I feel like it's more about the presenters and maybe trailers for new games rather than celebrating the award winners, and I don't care for that. I find the format boring. I find the presentation over long, but if you're into it, I mean, kudos.
Yeah.
There's an audience.
And you
Yeah.
know what, Trevor? I That's another reason why Statler and Waldorf don't work in there, because I think that's a very valid complaint about the show. And what they basically did was bring these two characters in to poke fun at it, at the execs thing, like, haha, we know you feel this way. And then that was it. We're going to have a laugh with you, as opposed to, well, why don't we fix it?
Yeah.
We'll just laugh at it with everyone else and show that we've got a good sense of humor about this. And next year
Mm.
it's the exact same thing.
Mm.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Yes, we'll see if they ever learn from their mistakes. Honestly, I mean, if viewership is down, maybe they'll have to. Like, none of us watched it, but we're just 3 people on a Pure Nintendo podcast, so who knows, right? Who knows?
And most of the people on YouTube thought Statler and Waldorf were hilarious. Like, all the comments were like, "This is so funny! I can't believe he said this. What a great dig!" Like, well, all right,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, I think we said last week it's aimed for a different crowd to us. I guess, is that right? It's not even aimed at Nintendo fans.
And well, the thing is too, if you're comparing them on the Game Awards to like the classic Muppet Show, it's going to be weak. But if you're comparing them to the rest of the just that show, then they stand out as highlights, right? So,
That's a good point.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, if I'm there in the audience and suddenly Statler and Waldorf are up, them like, "Oh, I'm saved."
Yeah. Yeah. Oh well. Nice little homage, even if it didn't quite work out to Kirk's taste. Thank you for letting us know about that, Kirk. And yeah, the trailers, I didn't see anything particularly Nintendo related, I don't think. And the only game that got an award that was mildly interesting to me was Balatro, which I think got something. Maybe Best Independent Game or something like that. I don't know. I know it was nominated for a bunch, but I don't think Zelda or Mario Party or anything ended up winning their categories from what I saw. So, boohoo, never mind. We'll have our own wrap up of the top 10 games of the year in the next
very soon.
very soon. Yes. So stay tuned for that. Very excited about that one. But let's move on to the games that we've been playing this week. And let's kick things off with Tetris, because that we mentioned last week was coming out on the 12th of December. So that is out now. And I assume you've had a go, Trev. I had a go. Lots of nostalgia there. And we mentioned that last week that you might be happy to have it because it wasn't included in your well, not your, but you reviewed recently Tetris Forever and it wasn't included in there for whatever reason, I guess copyright or something. How do you feel
Yeah,
now?
Kirk was right. I am less sad to have it on the Switch,
Yeah.
and of course I do have it, on the NES too. But yeah, I can't play the NES in bed, so it's nice
Yes.
having it on the Switch. It's you know a lot of NES games. There's like three camps of NES games. There's NES games that have aged well. There's NES games that have aged bad, and then there's some NES games that seem to have gotten better with time. And Tetris
Right.
is one of those few. I feel like I like it more even as an adult than I did as a kid. And it's kind of hard to underestimate how big this game was for the NES. Like it was one of those transcendent games. So
Mm.
to have it
Mm.
now and to be able to, save my high scores, not that they're that high, but and enjoy the music and just the cutscenes and the sights. It's awesome. It really
It
is.
is. It is awesome. Um, I love that. And I have to ask you, yeah, the music is definitely like I'm playing it. I played it last night and I'm just like, oh yeah, this just takes me way back. Because I had this on the NES. I did. I remember playing with my mom. We just love this game. And what's your high score? Just out of interest.
Uh, I don't know, but it is a little funny. About maybe it was a year ago. I was playing Tetris on the NES, and I actually dug out an old Nintendo Power because they used to have you could take a screenshot or take a picture, Polaroid, whatever,
Mm.
of
Mhm.
your TV and send it for high scores. And I had a good run, and I'm like, I wonder if I could have made the mag, and I was not even close, not
Yeah.
even close. Um, I never considered myself a good Tetris player, even though I had fun. Now, my mom, it's interesting you mentioned playing with your mom. My mom absolutely adored Tetris, and she was great. She could just
Mhm.
go and go and go and go. So um,
Nice.
it's one of those games, I guess, even if you don't have the skill, you can still enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. I asked Kirk last week which level he starts off on, because you can choose to start on level like 0 or,
Mhm.
5 or 10, whatever. Where do you like to start?
I usually default at 0 and work my way up because
Mhm.
whether it's shaking off the rust or just because I enjoy the chiller pace or in the music, whatever it may be. But again, I'm not very good at those games. Like you might remember when we played Dr. Mario online,
Yeah.
I had to bump
Yes.
my level down because,
Yes, I do remember
uh,
that. That's
but
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, and there was a
Why do
special.
you put your level up?
I do, I do. I can't remember what I used to start at. I used to start at the same level every time, and I don't remember, it was between 5 and 8, I think, but it was probably 6 or 7. I last
Oh,
night when I played, I think I went on to 7 yeah, I think I started on 7, I did pretty well. I went to 8, started on 8, I did terribly. Started on 5, I did fine. But I think I know you might know or you might not know, do you get more points for getting, lions or Tetrises in particular when you're on a higher level? Is that the point of starting on a high level, or is it just a challenge? Because I thought in my head, I started on level 5 because I got more points that way, but I could be wrong about that.
I am not sure, and I remember you mentioning that on the show
Yeah,
last week, and
that's
yeah, I don't know.
that's why I always did it. So yeah, I tend to start around 5, 6, 7, something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, but
and
that's
then it
what's
gets
cool being on Switch because you can save and record your scores,
mm,
right? You don't have to
yes.
worry about turning the NES off and
Yeah,
losing them.
yeah. Yeah. So I've got the high score on, my Switch Online, like my NES Switch Online, but it's not that high. Like I don't think I hit 100,000. So yeah, I just beat Harold or whatever the random name that was there by default. I'm like, I'm happy with that. Anyway,
Mhm.
there was a little special message from the Tetris creator as well that was online during the week, which is really nice because, you knew this already because the Tetris Forever game came out to celebrate the 40th anniversary. So, it's nice to have this extra game in the zone that we can play to help celebrate that. Interesting,
Mm.
I guess, feat as well. 40 years is a long time.
Did you play the Game Boy one too?
I didn't. I was going to go and play that one, but I haven't got around to it yet. Did you also?
I did. It's it's color, which a lot of people probably grew up with the black and white one, but
Hmm.
it's nice having it in color. And I feel like it felt a little bit harder than the NES game to me, but it might just be because I'm not as familiar with it.
Could be. Like, I mean, I did play the original Game Boy one, sorry, if that's what you meant. I haven't gone back and played it
Yeah.
on Switch
Oh
Online.
no, I meant on the one they put on
Oh, the
alongside NES one, the Game Boy Color
yeah,
one.
DX, is it?
Was it? I can't even remember.
I think it's I can't remember. Yeah, but I think it was called DX. No, I did not go and play that one, but it is there as well. Interesting that it's harder. I wonder why. Hmm.
I
Hmm.
just well, again, that's just how it felt to me. And I grew up with the NES game. I did not grow up with Tetris DX on the Game Boy, so take
Mhm.
it for what it's worth.
Kirk, did you get any time with Tetris during the week?
I didn't. I went looking for it too early, and it wasn't there
Ah.
yet, and then I forgot.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yes, I will grab it. I feel like I've got to have a version of that I can play from time to time because
Yeah.
I like the game. I was never great at it, but it's a fun one to just pop up every now and again.
Yeah, well, it's one of those games where, I mean, skill is definitely a thing, but also, you're getting random shapes thrown at you. And like I said, I did well the first time I played last night. Then the second time, I was just getting terrible shapes. And I know you're supposed to put them somewhere special and you work it out and maybe slot them underneath, whatever. But I'm like, I needed the four liner and it came at the wrong time. And then I'm getting the little Z shaped when it's like, I didn't have a place for it, so I'm making gaps everywhere, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, now I've got to recover from this." So in terms of scoring points, obviously you want to get a Tetris, you want to get the 4 lines together to get more points, and I couldn't do that because I was trying to fix my holes that I'd made. So, yeah, it does depend a little bit on luck as well, but yeah, definitely a fun challenge for sure. Yes. Anyway, moving on to other games we're playing, and I was really excited to tell you about this one, Trev, because WarioWare Move It from last year,
Yes,
yeah, which you had told me to get because you reviewed it and you gave it a fairly healthy score. I
8.5.
Yeah, I picked it up because there was this random sale at EB Games where it was down to $34 Australian, which is only 22 US, which is pretty good. I think it was 51% off, basically, which you don't get 51% off Nintendo. Like, I don't know if you call this a first party title. Maybe not. Is it is
Yeah.
it one of those second party things? No,
No,
first
it's
party.
first party.
Yeah, you just don't get 51% off first party titles very often. So I'm like, yeah, I need to get this. So I picked it up. I had a bit of a play with my kids during the week. Of course, WarioWare is super fun. It's like a crazy version of Mario Party, right? where you're just doing all sorts of random things. And I had forgotten because, move it is because you're doing a lot of movements. You're actually striking a pose and then you're running or pulling things using the Joy-Cons. It's very, it's almost like the Wii, right? It's like very
Yeah,
much
you feel
moving.
like you're doing something athletic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it was a lot of fun. We had a really good time with it. So thank you for your recommendation. And a year later, I am with you on that
Hey,
journey.
better late than never, right? What did you
Yeah.
think, Gemma? I'm curious because Wario got a new voice. It's not Charles Martinet. What did you think of him?
I was wondering that because I was listening to it going, "Oh, was this his last Warrior, or was this when he was replaced, or when, he retired?" Yeah, I thought it was good.
Yeah, I
I
think it's pretty close.
yeah, like, I
Myself.
couldn't I couldn't tell because I was trying to remember, and I didn't look it up, and I'm like, "Oh, is this Charles or is it not?" So, yeah, I think the new actor did a great job. Yeah,
Yeah.
really good.
Hopefully that's how it is with Wallace and Gromit. I'm gonna
Yeah.
find out.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Exactly. Yeah, so definitely enjoying WarioWare Move It. I think that'll be a fun holiday game to play over the upcoming Christmas break. And I'll quickly touch on another game that I picked up for a steal, which Kirk reviewed the sequel to this just recently, which is Dungeons of Dreadlock. And you recently reviewed the sequel, Dungeons of Dreadlock 2. I mentioned at the time that it was on sale, I think, for $1.50. So I went and picked it up because it was $1.50. And I think it's normally like 15 or 20. So it was a huge discount, like 90%, something like that. I picked it up and played it. Only like about 13 levels in. I think there's like 100 levels. Is that the same with the sequels? Like 100 levels of
Yeah,
this
it sounds
legend?
right. Just
Yeah.
a couple over 100.
Yeah. It's really fun. I really like this game. It's a great little title. Each little level, like you said, is a puzzle, really, isn't it? It's just one room with enemies or traps or gates you have to open. I don't know if the sequel maybe is a little bit more elaborate. Plus, I'm only on level like 13 or 14 out of 100, but it's really clever. There's little time warps. I've just got into a time warp situation where I can
Oh yeah, yeah.
like little.
They have ones where you got to like sync up a whole bunch of them and just kind of
Oh,
flow through.
wow. So I imagine it's going to get very hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So far, it's been pretty good and pretty fun. Yeah, definitely recommend Dungeons of Dreadlock. I don't know if it's still on sale. Sorry, I should look that up before the show. But if it is, definitely pick it up. Yeah, highly recommend it. It's got that top-down kind of look to it, all that almost a 16-bit style. Looks like your old classic Zeldas or something. But the gameplay is quite different because you move space to space, and the enemies kind of follow or move in their own little patterns. Very interesting, very clever. Yeah, definitely a fun one. And for $1.50, I'm just like, what? That's a steal. So yeah, I'll wishlist the second one and see if that can be discounted heavily at some point.
I'm
Um,
sure it will eventually. And it's just, like I
yeah,
said, I didn't play the first one, but I love the second, so I'm sure the experience is similar. So if you enjoy that one, then by all means,
yeah. And you know
wish
what I
list.
really like? This is going to sound really silly. Not silly exactly, but sometimes when I'm reviewing a game, I do, and I'm not reviewing this because it's an older game, but I do talk about the text being legible. The text is very
Mm.
legible in this game. It's really easy to read. So thank you for that,
It's
developers.
funny.
Does
I remember you mentioned that. Was it the last show or the show before you were talking about that card
Oh,
game?
Balatro. Yeah, it's really hard to
Yeah.
read the text on that
I'm
game.
like, that's so true because a lot of times I'll play like in handheld mode and I'm like, I can't see it. It's so small on the smaller screen. And
Mhm.
that's why I always like to point out if they have those quality of life features where you can adjust the font, things like that.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need it in Dungeons of Dreadlock. It's very easy to read. It's all in caps, just like it's like cartoony. So there's like speech bubbles. Oh no! Also, when you talk, you go into the. You know what I really like, Kirk, is when you're in the dungeon, you can go up to a wall and there's a little thing, like a crack or something. You can go up to it and it tells you something about the room or the wall or the trap or something. There's like these little voiceovers. I don't know if that carries over into the sequel, but in this one it does that. And it's kind of like a little bit of a almost a D&D, like a Dungeons and Dragon kind of thing where they tell you part of the story as you're going. Like you walk into a room, there is an enemy. What should you do? Like it's like that kind of thing. It's really cool.
yeah, like an old text-based adventure.
Yes, 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 exactly like that from like the 80s. But obviously it's, enhanced with visuals and you can move around. But yeah, it definitely has that feel to it. I love it. It's really cool. I'll stop gushing. Let's move on to you, Kirk. What are you playing this week?
Well, I don't have a lot to say about it because I just started it. I got the code yesterday, but I am playing a game called East Memoire, The Oath in Felghana, which is another East game. I played one recently, East 10 Nordics,
Yeah.
a couple months ago. This is a very early game. This game was originally released as East 3 in 1990.
Wow.
It was remade as The Oath in Felghana it looks like it was released in Japan in 2005. The English localization for this didn't come until 2012.
Hmm.
Um, so it's been around. These games have kind of like, been remade and flipped across systems. So it's not surprising that it came over. But I've just started it. It very much has kind of a PSP sort of vibe to it. Really cool looking graphics though. Like the backgrounds are very crisp and detailed, and the characters are like these little chibi characters on top of it, but very much action oriented. It's not like the traditional JRPGs I play that are all like turn based or have some kind of timeline battle. In this one, you're just running around swinging your sword with different moves, like East 10 Nordics that I played recently. The focus is really on the combat. Not too far into it yet, but digging it. I really like this series. The interesting thing that fans of the East games may want to know is this one actually provides voice acting for, and it's new to this version, to Adol Kristen, who's otherwise your typical silent hero. Everyone else talks and he just kind of reacts. In this one, we get to hear his voice. So that's kind of a fun little
Oh.
thing that they threw in here into, this one for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Why is that?
Um,
Because you mentioned that he doesn't talk before.
yeah, I don't know. I don't
Will
know.
will he didn't talk in East 10? Was he in East
No.
10? No. Yeah, that's weird.
So
Hmm.
yeah, it doesn't come out for a while. It's January 7th is the release date. Monday, we're allowed to start talking about it, or I could post a preview. So mine will follow soon after that, depending on how deep I get into it this weekend.
Mhm.
But
Um,
we're recording this Friday. Oh no.
but I can mention that I'm playing it. This isn't like some of the other ones where I'm not even allowed to talk about having a copy. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, the actual preview has to wait, and of course there are some things I wouldn't be allowed to talk about because we can't give too much away yet.
Yeah, fair
But look
enough.
forward to that, and look forward to the game if you're a fan of like older school action RPGs. This is a great series to get into. They do more right than wrong. So um,
Mm. How many are you up to now with your East collection? Like, how many have you played out of 10? Do you reckon?
four. I'm gonna
Okay.
say four. It started with East. I think it was 8. Lacrimosa of Dana.
Mhm.
Came out for the Switch a while back, and that's the first one. Like I saw a trailer for that and thought this really looks like my kind of game.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it was. I absolutely loved it. And then I played East 9 Monstrum Nox, um, which I also enjoyed. East 10 I didn't like as much as the first two, but was still fun. And then there were some games that were released for the iPhone, and I played those.
Mhm. I wonder
And
why they dropped the 3 off this one, because that makes it confusing if you're trying
I'm
to play them
assuming
all.
because yeah, if 7, 8, or 8, 9, and 10 are released for the Switch already, then bouncing back to 3 may confuse people. Like I never
Mm.
played 1 or I never played 2, or why am I going back? So
Mhm.
dropping that number altogether just makes it feel like he's because none of these games need to be played in any particular order. They all just recount individual adventures of Adol Kristen.
Mm, mhm.
The time, like 10 is like one of the first adventures he ever went on according to the timeline, so
Yeah.
you don't need to have played any. So maybe by removing it, they're
Yeah.
not going to scare people away.
I guess it's like Link, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah,
they don't have numbers, and you can play them in any order, really. So
except for 2.
2, yeah, true.
When didn't they call is that
True.
did they call it 2? It was 2, right? The
Yeah,
Legend of Zelda 2.
yeah, it was, yes.
Where's Trev? He'd help me with this.
I'm here. No, you're right.
Oh, you're here today.
The Adventure Zelda 2, The Adventure Link. Not to be
Exactly.
confused with Zelda 2 as an also.
That's what, sorry?
Like Zelda, comma 2, like Zelda also.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just make it a joke.
Thank you. Just to dip quickly back into Dungeons of Dreadlock, it is still on sale until the 19th of December, actually, and it's $1.99 in the US. It was $1.50 in Australia, which is crazy. It was cheaper here than there. It's 80% off in the US. So just if you did want to pick it up, it is still on sale. Trev, I think you're up. What would you like to talk about?
Well, let's see. How much time did you leave me? Man, we're at an hour already.
I
All right.
know. That's okay.
So I'll just go real quick. Besides Tetris, which we already talked about, I recently posted a review of a game called Locomotive,
Mhm.
point and click graphic adventure. Really good game. I give it an 8 out of 10. And actually, thinking about it, Gemma, it had options to increase the font,
Ah,
which is
nice.
good because there's, the bulk of the game is talking and interacting with all these crazy characters. So
Yeah.
I was able to really enjoy it in handheld mode because I'm not 20 anymore. I got the eyes I have. So
Yeah.
that's my most recent review. I'm also working on the Taito Milestones #3 collection. I think Kirk did the first two, and it's probably going to be comparable. I think you scored them like in the 6 to 7 range, and that's sort of what this one's going to be. It's basically their arcade archive games kind of bundled into a collection, and
Mhm.
there's a couple good ones, a couple okay ones, and some meh ones. So you kind of have to view it as the mixed lot it is.
Mhm. How many
And
are there altogether in the collection?
oh, ooh, you
About
would
8.
ask me that. I don't know, 7, 9, something like that. Yeah, maybe 8.
Oh, like a decent number. Yeah.
Oh
Not like
yeah,
2
it's definitely you know, I mean, because those arcade archive games generally don't go on sale a whole lot, and an individual game's what, 7.99. So if you were gonna get these games, I mean, wish list these collections, and if they go on sale, even better. But
Mhm.
um, I think Kirk mentioned it in one of his reviews of a past one. It's like even the fun games, you're like, hey, you know, I remember playing this game in the arcade. But how long did you play in the arcade? You play for a few minutes and then you moved on. And I feel like a lot of these games just maybe don't hold up so much to repeat plays, but
Mm,
we'll have to
mhm.
see when I get the review done, probably this week, and it might actually be up by the time this podcast is up. So we'll
Cool.
see. But besides that, I also because we had company um, recently, and we did a lot of the games I break out for company, including the new Mario Party, which was a hit with my friends. We played the mall board, and that was a lot of
Mm,
fun.
it's a good one. Yeah.
And the Rift Tracks game, which is probably the most popular. I think there was another Kirk review. Played that
Oh,
with friends.
nice.
And I recently, in anticipation of some pinball tables that are coming out to Pinball FX, I went and downloaded the Star Trek Next Generation pinball table. Even though I'm not
Oh.
the biggest Pinball FX fan, and I already own this table on the Wii U Pinball Arcade, but yeah, it's just a great table, and I can't beat just playing it in bed, you know. And I
Yeah.
can't play the Wii U in bed; it's in the living room, and there's not enough range with the
Oh,
gamepad. So
yeah. Mhm.
I got quite the little mixed lot of games I've been dabbling in and out of.
Yeah. Very mixed. That's awesome. What would be your highlight out of all of those, do you think?
Um, well, obviously, I liked playing with friends, Mario
Mm,
Party Rift Tracks, but individually, I mean, Locomotive is probably going to make my honorable mention for my top 10. It was very
nice.
close between 8 and 8.5.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so I don't know if I'm going to write about it for the next issues Let's Talk or if I'm going to mention it when we record our own top 10 podcast, but
Mhm. Yeah.
it's very good. If you're into that genre, it's high quality. It really is.
Yeah, it does look good. I remember you mentioning it a while back when you first started playing it and, looking at the screens and the trailer, and it's got that really cool animation to it as well, that style of animation.
Yeah, and it's
Um,
a bigger game than I thought. Every time I thought we were getting ready to beat it, it was like a new
yeah.
chapter.
Yeah,
So,
right. Nice. That's cool. Yeah, no, it does look good. It's gonna be hard to get our top 10s. I mean, I know I'm probably the one who's holding us back at this point, so I need to get mine to you,
well, I
but it's
wasn't
gonna
going to
be
say anything, but since you brought it up,
Yes. But it's gonna be a fun discussion, and it's gonna be really interesting to see what makes our number 1 game of the year. Yeah, because it's been a big year, and I remember at the start of the year, we didn't really know what was happening this year. We didn't have a whole lot on the horizon, and it's turned out to be there's been a wealth of good content. So, yeah, very excited to talk to you about all of the games of 2024 in the next. I think it's not next week, the week after. Is that what we're planning for? I believe.
Were we doing it before the holiday? Because if so, it might have to be next week.
Yeah, maybe. Well, stay tuned, listeners. It'll either be the next episode or the one after. But yes, look forward to that.
And it's good that you haven't turned it in yet because I feel like I could still coerce you into adding a couple games that I need to get on that list.
Yeah, okay. All right. We'll talk
Good
after.
idea.
We'll talk after the show. Yeah, no, it's going to be a great list, honestly.
Have you played Unicorn Overlord,
Oh
Jemma?
my gosh, no. I played the demo and I wish I had given it more time. Like the demo is fine, of course, but I wish I could give it more time because I think that could be up there, honestly, and I'd like to give it some love. And I'd like to see the JRPGs or what's that? It's more of a tactical turn-based kind of RPG, but yeah, give that some love, that genre some love. So, yeah. Anyway, it's okay. No, but anything else you guys wanted to throw into the mix before we close off for the week? Trevor always has something to add, don't you?
Yeah, Trev, you go ahead.
Just want to hype up the upcoming issue. We actually just submitted our cover story for it, so I know it's a busy time of year, but hopefully we can plow through it. And yeah, I just mentioned Blue Sky again. We need some followers.
Yeah.
I want my Langolier. They don't call them tweets. What do they call them on Blue Sky?
I don't
Skeets
know.
or something.
Skies?
I want that to catch up. So like it, share it, etc.
Yeah, well, I'll go and do that. I have not been on Blue Sky much this week. I've just had the craziest week in ever, but I'm back on deck now. So yeah, we'll give it some love. Yeah, thank you, Trev. And yes, thank you for mentioning the magazine. If you'd like to support us and get yourself a copy of the magazine, you can head on over to patreon.com/Pure Nintendo. We are furiously working away at writing those articles right now, and then I need to do the design in the coming weeks. So we're looking to get that out in January. So stay tuned. We'd love to get a copy into your hands. As Trev also mentioned, Blue Sky is our new platform of choice, as it is with many people these days. So you can catch us on over there at Blue Sky for all our reviews and news, as well as the podcast, etc. Anything else? I think that's it. Yeah. Thank you very much, both of you, Trev and Kirk. Thank you, listeners. Let us know your thoughts on the show and what you're playing. And until next week, game on, everybody. Bye.
So long.